Okay, so today is the 15th. Today we are going to be doing graphing parabolas. Okay, so starting off with the first example, we have a quadratic equation in vertex form. In vertex form, the formula is y equals a parentheses x minus h, h, squared plus k. And the reason it's called vertex form is because h comma k is the vertex. It makes it really easy to graph. So, starting off, line of symmetry is going to be x equals h. And in this one, since in the formula it's x minus h, is going to be the opposite of this positive, because negative being subtracted is a positive. So for this, the line of symmetry is x equals negative 2. So I'm going to start. Oh, nice. It doesn't show up great, but I'll just get this written down. All right, so we have our graph, and our line of symmetry is going to be at x equals negative 2. So 1, 2. I used a different color this time.
Oh, good job.
All right. Next is vertex. So, oh no, I didn't graph right. I didn't do the axes right, but that's fine. It's h comma k. In this equation, k is positive 5, so our vertex is at negative 2 comma 5. That's where I messed up.
You can go up and just
There's one, another one.
Yeah.
So it's going to be right here. This is our vertex at negative 2, 5. All right, so now we're going to do Y-intercept. The Y-intercept is where x equals 0. So if we have our equation, negative 2 x plus 2 squared plus 5 equals y, and we plug in x equals 0, we have negative 2, 0 plus 2 plus 5. 2 squared is 4. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. Plus 5 is negative 3. So y equals negative 3.
Let's scoot it up a little bit.
Scoot it. All right. So that means that our y-intercept is at 0, negative 3. So graphing that, 0, 1, 2, 3. This is our y-intercept. Now for our x-intercepts, that's where y equals 0. So if we set it equal to 0, we get 0 equals negative 2 x plus 2 squared plus 5. 0 minus 5, negative 5, equals negative 2 x plus 2 squared. And then you get positive 5 halves when you divide by negative 2. 5 over 2 equals x plus 2 squared. Now we take the square root of both sides.
Round to the nearest tenth, because you're going to have to graph it, okay?
All right.
you're going to have to use a calculator.
All right, so we have, I haven't used one of these in a while. The square root of 5/2, and that's going to be approximately 1.58 equals x plus 2.
How many answers?
Plus or minus x plus 2. And that's in parentheses, right?
Right. Well, I put it on the 1.58, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah.
Make it easier for you.
All right, so if it's a
So
positive...
Why don't you round to the 1.6 just because it makes it,
All right.
that's the best you can graph. Does that make sense? The best you could actually graph is to the nearest 10th.
So if we have 1.6 equals x plus 2, and then we have negative 1.6 equals x plus 2. So we subtract the 2, we get negative 0.4. And then if we subtract 2 with negative 1.6, we get negative 3.6.
Awesome.
So if these are our X-intercepts, looking here, we have negative 0.4. That's going to be a little bit under half, right about there. And then we have negative 3.6. 3, and then about 3.5. And then filling in the graph.
There's something for just a second. There's one more point. You guys see one more point because of your line of symmetry? You see one more point with your line of symmetry that you can put on a graph? Right.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, right?
All points are reflected over the
Ah.
x value.
Yeah, doing great, Brittany.
So then that continues on forever that way. And this continues on forever this way. And also we know that it is a downward curve because there's a negative 2 right here
Yes.
as the coefficient. Anytime the coefficient is negative, it is a downward curve. All right. Did I do okay, guys?
You did awesome.
Great. Does it make sense? Okay, moving on. Now we have an equation in standard form. All right, standard form is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. We have an a, b, c. Line of symmetry. So line of symmetry for standard form is going to be negative b over 2a is going to give you the x value of the line. So if we plug this into our equation, we get negative 8 is a positive 8. 8 over 2 times 2 is 4. So our line of symmetry is at x equals 2. So if we were to start graphing that, we'd have at x is 2. We have our line of symmetry. And then for vertex in standard form, you plug in your x value you get from negative b over 2a. And you plug that into your first equation. So you have y equals 2 times 2 squared minus 8 times 2 plus 5. So doing this out, 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. We have 8 minus 8 times 2 is 16 plus 5. 8 minus 16, negative 8 plus 5 is negative 3, equals y. So this gives us our vertex because we have our x value and we have the corresponding y value. So 2 comma negative 3. Oh, I made the graph lines really bad for that,
You're doing great.
I think. Actually, no, it's a positive. Never mind. So 2 comma negative 3, that gives us our vertex right there. All right. So now that we have our vertex, we can do our y-intercept. Y-intercept is at x equals 0. So when we plug in 0 to the equation, 2, 0 squared minus 8 times 0 plus 5. That cancels everything over here. That does not look like a 5.
You're doing awesome. Welcome to my world.
So it means that y equals 5. That one looks like a 5.
There you go. Yep.
So, all right, so 0 comma 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There is our y-intercept. That also means that we have a point right here because it mirrors over the value, kind of like reflections in when you're doing transformations. So now we have to find our x-intercepts. X-intercepts is at y equals 0. Set it equal to 0. And you have 2x squared minus 8x plus 5. Yes. So that does,
I don't think it factors,
It-
does it?
even if it does, it takes a lot of brain power to factor when you don't use factoring really after, you probably won't use it after this class ever.
Yay.
So,
You could use the quadratic formula, or you could complete the square. Which one?
I think we're not all complete the square.
complete the square? Oh
Sure.
no.
I'll help you. Bring over the negative 5. Bring over the negative 5.
Quadratic.
But it's easy.
Yeah.
It's plugging in numbers to a formula.
What do you guys
All right.
vote? Complete the square or quadratic? Complete the square. Hands up. Quadratic. Now we're kind of torn.
Well, okay. They both suck.
I think we
so.
should complete the square.
Okay. All right. We'll
All right.
complete square. Bring over the negative 5.
Negative 5 equals 2x squared minus 8x.
Divide by 2. Everything.
Divide by 2.
I got you covered on this one. Okay.
All right.
Negative 2.5 equals x squared minus 4x, right?
Yep.
Half of, what's half of 4?
2.
2 squared is 4, right? So add 4 to both sides.
Add 4.
Add 4 to both sides, yeah.
All right. That's not how you do it, but
Okay, so that is, what's that?
6.5.
4 minus 2.5, was that 1.5?
No, wait, that's 1.5.
1.5. I'll slide you up. Okay. Okay, and that'll factor into an x minus 2, or x minus 2 quantity squared, right?
Wait, what?
That'll factor.
Yes.
X minus 2, x minus 2. Do you agree, Carly?
Yes.
I knew you would.
Indeed, does.
All right.
So you got 1.5 equals x minus 2 quantity squared, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll square root both sides.
Yes.
Here to help.
Square root of 1.5.
About a 1.2 plus or minus 1.2 equals x minus 2.
And then you have 1.2 equals x minus 2. And negative 1.2 equals x minus 2.
Yep.
And then you get x equals negative 3.2. And x equals 3.2.
Hold on.
Wait, no.
No, that's okay. It's all good. How about 0.8 for that one?
Oh, yeah, 0.8.
That one's 0.8. 0.8. Okay, and then you can graph those, right?
That one's 3.2.
Yeah, that was definitely 3.2.
All right, now we have 0.8 and 3.2. 0.8 is like right there. And then 3.2 is 3, 2.
Do they look symmetrical? Yeah, so they're probably right. I mean, that's a good test because your x-intercept should also be symmetrical, okay?
Yep. All right. And then you have this right there.
Yay, Britt!